It's safe to say that if you're a parent whose child suffers from constipation, you have heard of MiraLAX. Your pediatrician prescribes MiraLAX for a child's constipation and told you that it's safe. But weeks later, your child is experiencing meltdowns, anxiety, and behavioral changes that you've never seen before. And now you start wondering if there's something wrong, but no one warned you that this could happen, because here is what most parents don't know. MiraLAX isn't FDA approved for children under 17, and the FDA has reported numerous reports of serious neuropsychiatric side effects in kids, including anxiety, aggression, paranoia, and obsessive compulsive behaviors. So this video is for parents whose children are taking MiraLAX or other laxatives for chronic constipations, especially if you've noticed behavioral changes, mood swings, or worsening anxiety. Now, it's also going to be for parents who want to understand why the child's constipation keeps coming back despite the medication. So in this video, you will discover why MiraLAX isn't FDA approved for children and the side effects that your doctors just don't mention, and how the perfect storm creates nervous system dysfunction that shows up as constipation, and why laxatives only care for the signs instead of restoring normal, natural digestive function. We're also going to explore the neurological approach that helps kids heal without medication or any of the scary side effects. Now, I want to share a consult we just had in our office this morning. Irina, she brought her kids in and she never imagined that the medication that was recommended to her by her pediatrician could make her son worse. See, Dan had struggled with constipation since infancy, and when the doctor prescribed MiraLAX, she trusted that it would help. Instead, Dan started developing severe behavioral side effects, anxiety, aggression, and emotional outbursts that seemed to come out of nowhere. Now, Irina's experience isn't rare. See, according to the Academy of Family Physicians, constipation affects up to 30% of children worldwide, and many pediatricians are turning to polyphenol glycol, which is the active ingredient in MiraLAX, as the first-line care plan. But the potential risks are often overlooked, leaving parents like Irina searching for answers when the child health deteriorates instead of improving. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty, okay? So since MiraLAX isn't FDA approved for kids, why are doctors prescribing it, right? Because here's some nuance. MiraLAX is not FDA approved for children under 17, and pediatric use is actually considered what's called off-label, right? Because the FDA had received numerous reports of neuropsychiatric side effects in children, including anxiety, aggression, mood swings, paranoia, OCD behaviors, and these common side effects also include things like bloating, gas, nausea, cramping, diarrhea, and in rare cases, severe bleeding or electrolyte imbalance. See, traditional medicine takes care of constipation as a symptom to manage, not a signal that something deeper is wrong. So when these side effects appear, a lot of times doctors are going to adjust your dosages or add more medications, keeping kids dependent while the root cause remains untouched. One thing I really like to emphasize when we go on these videos is this is not one of those videos where we come down on doctors, because doctors are miracle workers. They really love these kids and they're working really, really hard. But sometimes the system is just incomplete, which is why these problems can start to create. Okay, so now back to the topic at hand. So how does MiraLAX actually work, and why does that actually create a problem? So MiraLAX itself, right, works through what's called osmosis, where it basically starts pulling water into the intestines to artificially soften stool. This is going to bypass your child's natural digestive processes that should be regulated by your nervous system, right? So the nervous system, which acts as an air traffic controller, it's coordinating every aspect of digestion from start to finish. It's like pressing the gas pedal while the parking brake is on, right? You're forcing movement, but that's straining the entire system. And what we have seen is that kids who receive multiple rounds of antibiotics before age 2 are significantly more likely to develop things like allergies, asthma, and gut issues, because disrupting the natural processes is going to have some long-term consequences, right? So let's talk about why constipation actually starts far longer before you even start to notice, and into what we in our office call the perfect storm, right? The prenatal stress that affects the developing baby's nervous system, right? It creates a sense of heightened fight or flight response patterns. Basically, if pregnancy, preconception, all the different periods are a very, very stressful environment, the stressful environment is then communicated to your baby into thinking that the environment that they're about to be born into is going to be a stressful environment. So the natural response is going to be fight or flight response. Then you add on things like birth interventions, whether it's like C-sections, forceps, vacuums, which create a physical trauma to the upper neurospinal system. It creates subluxations that disrupt the nervous system communication, adds on to that thing. Now, you also add on things like environmental toxins, whether it's heavy metals, pesticides, plastics, all these different things that also interfere with normal nervous system function. You start creating more and more of what we call these perfect storm factors. Then after that, you start adding things like antibiotic overusage, which is going to disrupt the gut bacteria balance and weaken the digestive health with each of these rounds. See, all these factors start to combine to create a state of sympathetic dominance in your child's nervous system. It's like a computer on with too many tabs. It's unable to coordinate basic digestive functions. And what neurologically focused chiropractic care can do is it can identify and address these subluxations that is causing this nervous system dysfunction and address them at the root cause. Now, we try to find them in our office through something called the insight scans, which is these 3 sets of scans that we do for all of our children, all the children that are presented to the office, as well as adults, because we're starting to get that question a lot now, that do we do this work for adults? Yes, we do. It's just a little bit different, right? Now, these insight scans is going to provide a detailed picture of a child's nervous system. Now, the heart rate variability, which is the test that allows us to see sympathetic and parasympathetic balance. Then you have your thermal imaging, which is an inflammation marker, and you have your surface EMG, which helps us pick up neuromuscular tension. All this data combined lets us know exactly where your system is at, where we need to get the work going, so that way we can create change. Once we know where the areas need to get changed, we administer gentle adjustments so we can reduce the sympathetic stress, and most importantly, activate the vagus nerve function to restore the rest and digestive mode. See, digestive motility is often the first function to actually improve when the nervous system balance is restored. And it's honestly an everyday occurrence in our office, right? So basically, insight scans reveal subluxation, sympathetic dominance, and after several weeks of care, as we start taking care of these kids, a lot of times we'll start seeing bowel movement start to normalize, stomach pain subside, and behavior also starts to improve so dramatically that a lot of parents end up discontinuing the work that they're doing on the outside of here, right? Now, because the biggest thing we are trying to drive home with this video is that your child's constipation isn't just a digestive problem, it's a neurological one. And while MiraLAX might provide temporary relief, it does come with potential side effects and doesn't actually address why your child's nervous system can't regulate digestion properly, right? Because you're doing everything right, but possibly in the wrong order. The foundation has to come first. So when you restore nervous system function, everything else can finally work the way it's supposed to. So if your child is struggling with chronic constipation or has experienced side effects from MiraLAX or other medications, we encourage you to explore drug-free alternatives. So click the link that we have below, send us a DM, or schedule directly at our office. I'm Dr. Shah, here at Inspire Chiropractic in Dallas, and because we believe that your family deserves hope and help.